Hello, this is Korean Story Grandma. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about a couple. It happened during Japanese colonization in Seoul. And anyway, so in 19 late 1930s. Here we go. Okay. In the late 30s and early 1940s in Seoul, Korea. At the time, it was one Korea. No North Korea, no South Korea. And there were two elderly gentlemen who were very good friends. And one was poor, one was rather well off. The poor friend, he used to come to the rich friend's house and having dinner together, spend time together discussing the world and discussing their knowledge, and then he would go home. And the poor friend knew his rich friend was very anxious to find a suitor for his only daughter. But poor friends, he had a son, but he was poor, and he knew the rich friend wanted a quite well-off son-in-law, so he didn't say anything. However, being in 1940, early 40s, Japanese war effort was on the climax because they were expanding their military power to the China and pushing up very hard. And the poor man's son, he was quite clever, but he was a bit restless in Korea at the time. He finished high school, rather commercial college, so he could get a job, but he wanted to see the world. So at the time, the going abroad is just to cross the border to Manchuria and further afield, unless you want to catch big ship to go to China somewhere. Anyway, so this rich friend was getting rather anxious because the rumor has it that Japanese was tightening up their grips, conscripting young women for the Japanese war effort, meaning they are supporting group, but we know now it's like a comfort women. But they were working in all sorts of places like factories and everything, anything to support war effort. And normally it used to be said that from the countryside people were conscripted, but then now they are approaching Seoul. So the rich gentleman was very, very, very anxious. So he was searching the many suitors, from rich farmers to well-to-do family. But if he liked the family for his daughter, he didn't like the candidate. So he sort of didn't choose anybody. Time passed, but then he became desperate. At the time, the all the rich friend said to his friend, I don't know what to do really, you know, I think I need to get my daughter the husband. Then carefully the poor man said, well, I have a very clever son, but I don't know whether, because of, you know, my family financial situation, whether you would consider, but he's quite a good boy. Then they thought, what a good idea. We get along so well. We are such close. We know everything. But how come we didn't think about this before? Simply because they will all have good blood. I mean, at the time, they always checked family tree. So whether you are from Yangbang class, meaning they passed the civil examination, or their ancestors were well-to-do with the government. So then they said, oh, okay, let's do that. Rather than for me to looking for these strangers, why not don't you get your son? So they sent someone to Manchuria, would you believe? And then they grabbed hold of this young man and brought down. So this young daughter and this young son, they got married. So that's how they met, you see, at the time. But just as well, because indeed they were conscripting women from Seoul area as well. And sometimes they said the people who are gathering these young women were saying like they could get a job in Japan if they wanted, you know, work in a factory, earning some money. So many people who didn't have job, they went. But it turned out they were used as a sexual slave. I don't know whether you've heard of it. Comfort women. So you can Google it if you want, or if you're interested in. So it's a still very, very big issue between Japan and Korea. Anyway, so they got married. So next time I will tell you the story how they get along. Thank you. Bye.